Hello, welcome back to another episode of Musings podcast. I'm your host Gungo Mildred, and I'm so happy that you've joined me on another Saturday for another beautiful episode. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about asking for help. So, if you know me or if you've been listening to my podcast since I started, you do know that I haven't been employed for 3 years now, and it's been tough. It's been very tough. And sometimes I feel like quitting. I feel like quitting a lot. Like just quitting life, basically. This is going to be triggering for some people, and I'm so sorry for it. So that's a disclaimer, because sometimes I honestly feel like giving up on life. I just feel like, doing it, just calling it quits. Like just being like, you know what, I'm done. I'm done with the struggle. I'm tired being God's strongest soldier. I'm tired of listening to people telling me that usijali, one day things will work out. I'm tired of people telling me that God is there, God is going to do big things. Because I look at my life and I'm like, I don't see them happening. I don't see these big things that you are saying. I know you mean well. I know. Please believe me, I know that you mean well. But honestly, I don't see it, because it has been so tough and so rough. And God has been there for me. Don't get me wrong. A lot of times I cry and I cry and I cry and I beg God. I'm just like, please, I'm asking for this big thing. Like, it's not even a big thing. It's something that people just go to bed and they wake up in the morning and they have jobs. Like somebody was talking about them in a particular room that they were in. And so they wake up in the morning and they've gotten an email, or they've gotten like a message, or they get a phone call and they're like, hey, is this so-and-so? My name is so-and-so and I'm inviting you for an interview next week. And they go and they get interviewed, and that's how they get the job. Just like that. And they start working. And sometimes that interview is not even like an interview. It's like an orientation. Knowing people in the right places, having people in your circle who talk about you in rooms and in a good way, not in a bad way, not in a sarcastic way, not like, uyo, I don't know, msaidie tu, not in that kind of way, or even just like saying negative things about you. Having people who are intentional with their friendships, are intentional with their relationships with them, like I wish I had that sometimes, because it's been very hard. I won't even lie. And as I've said, sometimes I feel like giving up on life. I cry sometimes telling God that, I'm a coward. That's why I can't take my own life. And I'm sorry to say this, but yeah, I tell God that, I'm a coward, that I can't do it. So why can't you just do it for me? Because I feel like sometimes that's better than me sitting around and having to call people and ask for help. Honestly, the moment you call one friend and then you call a family member and then you call another friend, another family member, and within 2 weeks, because they're giving you something kidogo, and then after 1 week or 2 weeks, you're back to having nothing. You have no food, Wi-Fi imeisha, and you're there and you're like, okay, I need food. I need this YouTube thing to work, so I need Wi-Fi. And I need this and I need that. Mafuta imeisha, pads imeisha, sabuni ya kuoga imeisha. And I'm like, okay, jobs nimepata kufanya, nimefanya na nimepata only this amount. Yenye iliingia nikatoka. People talk about living hand to mouth. And when they're saying that, they usually mean like paycheck to paycheck or something like that. Ama mtu wa mjengo mwenye analipwa 200 ama 300 in a day anakuja ananunua mboga. Those people are better. Because for me, sometimes I can go a whole week without even getting 500 peke, kata 200. And then you are there and everything is finished. Kwanza, hey, the last week of the month, ni kama vitu zinitananga zinaambiana kuja. Kila kitu isha right now. Everything finishes at the same time. And even though I try to plan them separately sometimes, because if I do not have flour from the village, because sometimes I carry it and my grandmother sent it to me in Nairobi. If I do not have that, I will buy like the 5 kg soko, which itakaa miezi kama 2 or so. So, and mafuta, when I used to make like money from online in vizuri, I would buy like 5 liters as well. But nowadays I play with 1 liter ama 2 liter. So, unapata 1 liter nowadays hata ikai. And I was like, what is happening? Until I realized it's because nowadays I'm cooking very often. Si kama kitambo I would cook everything and just store them in the fridge because I was working. So nikikuja tu ni either nitapika ugali ama nitapika mchele ama whatever, kukaanga githeri or something like that, which was better. But now I'm cooking every 2 days. Of course mafuta itaisha haraka. So 1 liter inaisha mbio tena sana. So 2 liter sawa, nitamaliza nayo mwezi. But kumbuka ile unga nilinunua like 2 months ago inakuja kusha towards that end month. So unapata unga imeisha, mafuta ya kupika imeisha, mchele imeisha, because I usually buy 2 kgs that last for a month. Mchele imeisha. And those are my main things that I eat. Githeri hiyo it's another topic. But hizi ndio vitu zenye I have to buy every month. And so unapata zote zimeisha at the same time. And I'm looking at these things and I'm like, where am I getting the money? Afu inapata senye hauna do. Totally. And I'm like, okay, juzi tu nimetoka kuomba fulani ni weke stima token juu zimeisha. Just kuzi token, by the way, I spent 2k on tokens in order for them to finish like an entire month. Actually, it's not even, like, let's just say 2k. Like from the time I pay to the time that I get another 2k to pay for tokens, it's a whole month. So, and sometimes I don't even get that 2k. So I'll put like 1800. So unapata by the first week of the new month, imeisha. And I don't have any way to get that money to kuweka. And kila kitu ingine imeisha. So unabaki, okay, I'll go and cook for somebody and make maybe a K or 2k. Afu unabaki, okay, sasa hii pesa nanunua nini, nakosa kununua nini? Nalipia nini, nakosa kununua nini? Niweke yote kwa stima ama niweke stima kwanza ya 500 for now, alafu ninunue kama mafuta kale ka 1 liter, ninunue mchele, ninunue unga hata kama tu ni 2 kg, ama what do I do? I think I said in a previous episode, now I'm always on the negative. Like, I start every day on a negative. Like, tayari saizi, I need a lot of money to just do a lot of things. A lot of things are finishing soon. And I need money to refill them, to recharge them. And, 3 years. I will say I thank God because I've seen His grace and His mercy upon my life. The friends He has given me, the people who have helped me within these 3 years, I thank God for them. I think I said that in the friendship, episode. But it hasn't been easy. I feel like they could use a day, a month without me. That's why I say, like, God, take me instead of letting me stay in this world with me disturbing these people every day, every night. Because some of them pray for me. And even when I talk to my friends and my family and be like, this is what I'm going through, I feel sometimes they change in the tone when you're talking to some people. And I've actually stopped calling a lot of people, even just to talk. I have. Because utaongea and you feel the change in their tone. The moment you say, by the way, I was wondering if you could, hey, either you'll hear a sigh on the other end, just something, a shift, even on the way they were sat, you'd feel to something. And you're like, okay, they already know what I want to ask. Is it that they're uncomfortable with me asking? Is it that they don't want to give? What exactly is happening? There's something I read online a while back, and I even think I wrote it on my WhatsApp like a month or 2 months ago, that somebody said you haven't made it to the rock bottom until you have called your family or friend and asked to sleep on their couch, and they let you, and you go there and you sleep on that couch knowing that they didn't actually want you there. Like, ulisikia wakiongea ama while you were asking, you had that shift, that tone shift, that tone change. You had it. Ama you were asking them maybe live, like face to face, and you saw it on their face. They didn't want to say yes. Ama you showed up at their home and you told them your problems, and they were like, okay. If it's a lady, she was like, wacha niongee na baba boy, alafu nione kila atasema. And then she goes to the other room and they start talking, and the man, you hear him raising his voice like, mbona, he's your relative, why, blah 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 blah, kwani mimi ndo nilimwambia sikuwa na kazi. And then she begs him and begs, and then they both come. Mama, she comes back and she says, yeah, ni sawa, but only for a while, okay? Unalalapo ukijua hautakikani. Hata usingizi na kujaje, my friends. How do you sleep knowing that the man of that house does not want you there? Knowing that the lady who is a relative of yours or a friend doesn't want you there. I'm going to talk about something personal that happened to me a couple of years back. So, hii Kasarani tumeishi na mashida hapa na pale za maji. So, sometimes it will be barabara, the main road inatengenezwa, so pipes zimekatwa. Ama ni ya kuingia hapa kwetu inatengenezwa, zimekatwa. Ama ni ya kukuja like the street that I live on, inaekwa kabro, pipes zimekatwa. So there were some issues with water a lot. Like in the past, we used to have so many issues with water. So we would go like for a week, for a month without water. And what would happen during those times ni these people wakuza maji safi, clean water, Nairobi clean water. They're the ones who will bring those like tanks and tanks of water. But if you have ever heard about those people, you have had their CV. Some people change the tanks for exhauster because they're usually the same type, and they repaint them and change them from, clean water to, from exhauster to clean water. And the other problem is they usually go and take the water from a river or something, and it's not clean water. So the first time I ever used that water, I got an allergic reaction from it, and it would smell bad. Like unaenda kuosha uso, you bring the water to your face to wash your face, and it's just smelling terrible. So I decided, because I had an aunt who used to live in a place that water doesn't run out, and I would ask her if I could go and stay with her. And so at first she would accept, because I was also helping with babysitting and stuff. Until one time I went there, and the house girl was sick. And I had helped the house girl to cook. I had helped the house girl with 1, 2, 3 things after I came from work, because I think I stayed there for a week or a couple of days, I don't know. And then this one night, we are in the bedroom, and my cousins were there, and like the ones from that house and another one from another house. And this one was way younger at the time, and so he was making jokes and all of us were laughing. This house girl's laughter was like nizile laughter za finyo. I don't know, these people who laugh and everybody will just know that is so and so is laughing. So she had that kind of laugh, and she was the one who was laughing the loudest. Then my aunt's husband walks in, and he goes like, you people are supposed to be asleep, so and so is sick. And I'm looking at him, everybody's looking at him while he's talking, and I'm like, okay, why are you laughing like that? Everybody go to bed now, sleep, switch off the lights. He even switched off the lights. My laptop was on the bed and it was on. I'm not the one who was using it, my cousin was. But he goes, Mildred, switch that laptop off and everybody go to bed. I was in my 20s, and this is a grown man, my uncle or not. You are not going to tell me to go to sleep. If I'm not ready to sleep, I'm not going to sleep. I don't care who you are. You don't tell me that. And so I just looked at him, because things were going through my head, and I'm like, what? I know it's your home, but come on. And then I just kept quiet. And so he left. And I was like, you are the one who's laughing the loudest, and he's complaining because you're making noise for you and you're not feeling well. Then a while later, he comes back again after this lady has laughed loudest. Again, the kid was making a lot of jokes. Like, it was just funny. Everybody was laughing in that room, but the house girl was the one who was laughing the loudest. And so he comes back in. And I don't know, for some reason, he zeroed on me, and he was like, I told you to switch off that laptop. I was like, I'm not the one who's using it. He's like, I don't care, it's yours. Switch it off. I said, everybody go to sleep. And I'm like, hey. One, I do not respond to male authority figures very, very positively. Daddy issues and all. I do not. And when you start forcing yourself on me, or forcing your issues, or forcing whatever propaganda you want on me, bedhi tutakosana vibaya tena sana. I do not care that you are the headmaster, you are the president, I don't know. I do not care. I fear God and God alone. You, human being, I would have said a lot of things, but I kept quiet because it's his house. So I just looked at him. And then he goes and says, you know what? So and so is not awake because she's happy to see you here. Defending the house girl. The house girl was laughing the loudest. The house girl who, by the way, had just given some medicine to help her relax and fall asleep. This man tells me that that house girl is not awake because she's happy to see me in their home. And I've never felt unwanted like I did on that day. I looked at that man and I was like, how many times have I babysat for these people? How many times have I been there for them whenever they have needed me? And now he's saying, what? I was like, okay, sawa sawa. At that time, my aunt had followed and she was like, what's happening? And so she heard what he said and she knows my reaction. So she was like, she knew I'm definitely upset. My grandmother was in the premises at that time. And so my aunt goes back to her bedroom because she was talking with my grandmother in her bedroom. And so she goes back there and she texts me and she's like, come to Shosho's bedroom. And so I go. And my aunt, instead of taking my side, instead of telling me, like, I know what Baba so-and-so said, I know it wasn't good, but please do not take it to heart. Just let it go. So-and-so is sick and we're all worried, blah, blah, blah. Like, I would have listened. To that, I would have listened. To that, I would have understood. But she was like, don't get upset with him. Because if you get upset with him and he comes to know that you're upset with him, the next time we'll have trouble with water or, Matatos won't be going to town and stuff like that, and I tell him that you want to come and stay with us for a while, he will not say yes. I looked at my aunt and I was like, okay, so don't leave tomorrow while upset. And this is my aunt. I know her. I know her the way I know the back of my hand. Anything she says, I take it with a pinch of salt. I just look at her and I know what you're saying. I know when you're gaslighting me. I know when you mean what you're saying. I know it. So I just looked at her and I was like, okay. But what she wanted was for me to babysit her daughter because they had some things they were going to be doing that coming weekend. And she needed me to be there for them. Because the house girl that I was insulted over was supposed to go on her off. And so this man who does not appreciate the fact that I usually help them with such things, well, he had overspoken. And my aunt, instead of coming with, in peace, saying sorry, saying, I understand, but she was threatening me. And nilitoka huko hiyo. Like, I went to work the next day. And while I was at work, I remember calling my grandma and telling her that, okay, so I know you and your daughter, you told me this and this yesterday, but I'm leaving tomorrow. I'd rather come back and be stressed over water, even shower with that dirty water. Ni sawa. I'll have breakouts and everything, but after that, I will get better. Because I can't stay there anymore. Not like that. Not like that. And my grandmother was, don't, I was like, no, I can't. So when I got home, I spoke to my aunt and I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave tomorrow because I got this gig that I have to do, like a side job, because I was employed at the time. And the money that I get, I'm going to be able to buy water in order to be able to use at my place. And she was like, okay, I thought you were going to stay. I was like, no, I can't really. I have to go and do this job tomorrow. And tomorrow is the only day I can do it. She was like, okay. So while going to work, I carried my things. Anything I could carry, I carried them because it was just clothes anyway. And I went to work, and after work, I went home to my place. Luckily, I only had to buy water once. And by this time, my caretaker had already discovered what these people do. And she had gotten a clean water company that does like clean water. So it was from borehole, and it was clean. Yes, you can't drink it, but it was cleanish. And so I'd never had any breakouts or anything, and I only had to buy the water once because the next weekend, actually Monday, after that week that now I came back home, that week, the next one on Monday, I came back home from work and the water was pumping, like water had come back, and I was like, thank God. So I know asking for help from people, knowing that they do not want you there, and you have to sit there and be calm and all of these things. But then the things I suffered in that house, I could say, there's one time I was watching TV, let me just say, and auntie, if you listen to this, I'm sorry, but yo, I'm not going to say who you are, but anyway, Nisawa, this is life. One time I was watching TV in that house, and the man of that house comes downstairs from upstairs. He was up there. I was watching TV. There was this show that was on NTV. It was a Filipino teleseries. Be Careful with My Heart. And I loved it. I used to love it so much. So it used to come at a time where I had come from work and I would watch it, then I would go back upstairs. Because whenever I went there, I would go with my laptop so that I could watch whatever I needed to watch on my laptop instead of being downstairs watching their TV. And, these are family. They have the shows they like, not, things that I'm likely interested in as well. So I will carry my laptop so that I can be able to watch my things. And so, but this one show was on TV. And back then, I don't know why I didn't know about Akina NTV Live, I'm a Citizen Live, I'm to come Izoma, they weren't there, I don't know. But yeah, so I would watch there. So this time, I'm sat at the dining table and I'm watching the TV. And he comes downstairs and he takes the remote. Because I wasn't holding it in my hand. It was where it used to be placed so that anybody who comes can get it there. So I just put on NTV and put the remote back. And so he came and took it and started flipping through the channels because he was looking for football, which used to be shown on NTV. It was during the World Cup. And so he flips and he finds that there's no football. And Mr. Man just switched off the TV and walked away, went back upstairs. And I'm there watching. I was like, okay, should I switch it back on? Amma, what do I do? Honestly, if it were you, what would you do? And another one, I was showering. I had put on the hot water, like ile kawaida, instant shower. I had switched it on when I got into the bathroom. So I start, scrubbing myself and everything. So of course it's on, but the water is not running because I'm scrubbing myself. I'm washing my body. And then I go back to switch it on and there's hot water. And then all of a sudden it's cold water on my back. He had switched off the hot water. And I was like, hey. Wait, these are different times, different years, by the way, not even the same year that these things were happening. It's different times in different years. And I'm sure if I were to ask him, he would have an excuse or a reason for doing what he did. But every time any one of those things happened, I just knew that I'm not wanted here. I'm not wanted here. But maybe it was a time that I was the one who needed their help. Because whenever I was there because they wanted me to babysit, things were going okay. Maybe we'll hear a remark about food and stuff like that, how we eat so much and stuff. And that one I'll be like, okay, kitu naenda kukuni sina shida nayo, but I don't care. But whenever I was the one asking for the help, so I get it. When that person said that, when I read that on Instagram, I understood. Being in a friend's or family's home, sleeping on their couch, knowing fully well that you're not wanted there. I understood that person. So yeah, asking for help. It's not just about money. It's about a place to stay. It's about asking people to give you their time for 1, 2, 3. It's about asking people for their prayers, by the way. It's about asking any form of help from anybody that you know or even you don't know. Because what are people going to say? That's the other thing I usually wrestled with. I remember before I realized that, I have a community here and there's no need of me sleeping hungry when I can go to the grocery guy and be like, nipatie mboga ama kitu kama hiyo and I'll pay you when I can. Before I realized I could do that, I used to be like, what will people say? Nitaenda kwa duka nikope alafu nitatokapo abaki akiniongea. Until I realized and then after they speak about you, and then what will happen? And that makes them a shady person, not you. You went to them at a time of need. And they were like, okay, fine, I'll help you. Then you left and they started talking shitty about you. You put yourself in such a vulnerable place and was like, I need your help. And this person looked at you and was like, yeah, I'm going to mess around with this person. I'm going to tell everybody who can hear me that, you know what, Mildred came to ask for my help. Mildred called me and told me, please nisaidie doni kule. Mildred called me, akaniambia nisaidie pesa nifanyie ABCD. You are telling everybody. That says more about you than it says about me. I was vulnerable. I'm the one who prayed to God, like, please help me so that when I borrow from this person, they will give me. I'm the one who prayed to God for his grace and was like, please, let me be calm. Let me be down to earth enough. Let me be able to call this person and lower myself enough for me to ask for help. And when I do, let them not say no. Let them not ignore me. And let them know in their hearts that I'm very, very grateful. That when I say thank you, I mean it. And after whatever happens, after they help, when I go back to God and pray, may God bless them 10 times, 1,000 times more than they could ever imagine. Let them feel somehow that any good thing that comes their way, it not necessarily came from me or my prayer, but let them just feel in their heart that I had a thing to do with it. Like, you know, when you say that, yeah, I did a good thing today and God rewarded me with this. Yeah, I want to be in their thoughts when they're saying something like that. That, hey, by the nilisaidia mili jana, and I think that because I did that, today things have gone really, really well for me. Ama nilimpea 500 jana. Imagine leo nimepata tu 5K from nowhere. Let them know, like, somehow. So I put myself down. I have to humble myself. I humble myself and I come to you and I'm like, please help me. And then you choose to go spreading my name and announcing how you've helped me. Calling people and telling them, do you know that Millie called me and asked me for money? But that says a lot about you than it says about me. And sometimes I'm like, just imagine if the tables were turned, that you are the one who was asking for help from me or from anyone else. A lot of people go through this life without ever having gone through that period. Like, yeah, there's a time you didn't have a job or anything, but you were in a safe place where you could eat, you could sleep, and you didn't have to borrow money from anybody or ask for help, any kind of help from anybody. So you don't know. So people go like, pia mimi nishaikuwa chini, but I never. Yeah, because somebody was paying your bills. You always had food on your table. Somebody was taking care of it. You had a husband. You had, a wife. Somebody was taking care of things. But I live by myself. I have to take care of me. And when I do not have, I have to call the people that I know. And that is my friends and my family. I have looked for work, like I've applied for so many jobs, my friends. I've applied for jobs. The number of letters I've gotten back that you're saying no, not at this time, not at this time. The rejection letters, there have been so many. I even opened a folder for them on my email. Whenever I get one more, I move it there. I move it there. When I was in Sharjah alone, there were over 50. Now there are even more, so much more. And there's nothing I can do about it. That's just life. I mean, what can I say? What can I do? I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to say about this topic because I feel like I should just leave it there before I start crying and stuff. Because it's a very humbling experience asking for help. Any kind of help, but especially financial help. Very, very humbling. That's when you get to know the levels that you can go to in order to feed yourself. Paying bills sometimes, nimekaa kwa nyumba kwa giza. Tokens finished. And I'm looking at my contact list and I'm like, sir, nani sijaomba? Who else can I borrow from that won't feel like crossing the line? Because there's some people, yes, I know they have the money. I know they could help if I asked, but I'm like, will they really? Will they really help them, or will they feel some type of way because why did you come to me? What made you think that you could come to me? Or the people I talk to once in a long, long while. And then I'm like, hey, you know what? I don't have a job, so could you please help with 1, 2, 3? They'll be like, the last time I spoke to this babe, it was, I don't know, in high school or in college or something. Or that time we used to work with her. That's the last time I spoke to her. And now she's calling me, asking me for money. Like, who does that? Like, I hear conversations that people have. And the funny thing that I've come to notice these 3 past years is that the things people complain to you about are the same things they're going to complain about you to other people, especially when it comes to money. Somebody I know will call me and complain about, like, somebody else, about things to do with money and stuff. And then one time I asked them for help and they did not respond. They just kept quiet. And I remember just looking at that message about, like, her messages to me. And I went through them and I was like, oh yeah, maybe this is what she's doing as well. She's telling people, you see, this one, ABCD, this one, ABCD. And it's everything she used to complain about other people to me. And I was like, hey, okay. Ni sawa, but mimi ndo nahitaji msaada. So let me try again. But hey, I don't know. My grandmother usually says, you're asking for help because you do not have it. Whatever it is that you are asking for is something that you do not have. There's no way you could be asking for help if you had the thing already. And that sometimes make me feel like calm when I ask for help before asking for help. But most of the time I'm just like, God, just remove me from this misery that I'm going through. Because either give me a job or take my life. I have told God that so many times. Either remove me from my misery by giving me a job or another stable source of income, or just take my life. Because I hate asking for help. And before, I was the kind of person who would suffer before I ever opened my mouth to say that, hey, I'm suffering. But these 3 years without having a job have humbled me. Because it's either you ask for help or you sleep hungry. You either ask for help or you stay in darkness because you don't have tokens. You either ask for help or, you can't pay for any other thing that you might need at the moment. You either ask for help or, you don't have pads. And you get to understand just how easily women are swayed to go and sell themselves in order to afford something as simple as a pad, something that is necessary, something that everybody needs, every woman rather needs, and is a must-have. I go to understand how easily somebody can, just do that. Forget all my moral whatevers and just do it. Shut my emotions, shut my brain, just go lie there, take whatever I get, and then after that, I'll make a little money and I'll go and do whatever. I'll buy whatever. But then I was raised by my grandma. And no matter what, I usually hear her voice behind there. And I'm like, if I do something like that, she will ask me, why didn't you call me? If that I went to do something as bad as that, and somehow it ended up in the news and my photo was everywhere, my grandmother would call me and ask me, why didn't you reach out to me? Even if I didn't have, I could have figured out a way to help you. And I know other friends will be like, why didn't you reach out to me before you did something like that? And then there's just me. That's not the kind of person that I am. Like, I haven't been dating because why date a person, ask them to buy me a cup of coffee if I can't afford it myself? Like, that's my reasoning for not dating, honestly. Now, imagine me going to sell myself so that I can afford food. How will that even happen? I can't. There's some things that you can't separate from me. Like, I'm not the kind of person who does that. There's no remove this part, don't think, no. I'm just not the kind of person who does that. So there's no way I can separate me from that. So I don't know. I just can't. So I've learned a lot of things these past 3 years. Asking for help is not easy, like at all. It's not easy. But we all ask for help at some point in our lives. It might not be financial, but any kind of help. At one time, we need each other, and I've been there for people. Some of them have been there for me during these tough times. Some of them have completely secluded me and not wanted to have anything with me, which I get. It's okay. I'm not holding any grudges, but honestly, I'm keeping count. You might not always like it, because sometimes I feel like people are just tired of me, as I said before. I remember one time I was praying at night before I went to bed, and I just remember going like, God, don't let the people who have been helping me come to hate me because I keep going to them over and over again. I couldn't believe I just said those words. I started crying. And this is just before I go to bed. I started crying and I just couldn't believe it. So yeah, it hasn't been easy, and it's not easy asking for help. I don't know about you. There are people who I know they would never, like they would rather die than ask for help. But like ningumu, and I used to be like that as well, until, as I said, I realized if I don't, I'm sleeping hungry for the third day in a row or something like that. I was like, nitaenda kwa hiyo duka nikope, and I'll leave. I'll come and cook and eat and be okay. And when I get the money, I'll pay back. Hope to get a job hapa na pale online nini. I do it, I pay back. If I don't, I go back to them and be like, nakumbuka, sijasahau, I still remember. And having people's debts, knowing that I owe them hasn't been easy. And it's not like they're pressuring me or anything, but I know that I owe them. It's still in my head. And going back to them to ask for more help every other time, like it kills me, guy. But sani fanyeje. This is what life has dealt me. And well, there's nothing I can do about it for now. I feel like I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. If there was something else, I would be doing that as well. But I'm doing the best I can. So I don't know about you. I want to finish this at this. I can talk about these things forever, but I just want to stop. So I'll just stop now and just say that it's hard asking for help. But if you must do it, listen to what my grandmother says. If you had the thing that you're asking for, you wouldn't be asking for it. And just move on. Hold your head up high and say, I need your help. Whoever does give you the help, fine. If they don't, that's fine as well. Because again, nobody owes you anything. And you can't take, things and people's properties and people's graciousness as something that you should have for, like, no matter what. So if they say yes, fine. If they say no, fine. The only thing I do not like is giving me hope. Telling me usijali nitakusort by weekend. Hiyo weekend inafika nani unangoja. Unangoja. Aki, mwache kusumbua maskini tafadhali. If you do not have, just say no. If you think that you cannot do it, just say no. If you know for a fact you don't want to do it, just say I do not have. And that will be it. That person won't know if you are lying or not telling the truth. No, they won't know. So just say I do not have and move on. Lakini kupatia mtu hope, usijali nitakusort by weekend. Weekend inafika mtu amekaa amengoja anashindwa, should I call this person to confirm with them? I might just leave it. What do I do? Kukua maskini si rahisi. But anyway, as I said, I'm going to leave it at this. Go to the comment section down below. Tell me if you have ever needed help from anybody and how you felt before, during, and after asking for help. If it was easy for you to do it, if you felt guilty as I do whenever I have to ask for help, tell me in the comment section below. If you don't want to chat there, go to my Instagram page, Mimi's Musings Podcast, and tell me there on my DMs, or just, I don't know, text me there. I don't know. Just do something over there. Yeah. While you're doing that, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so that whenever I upload something new, you're going to be amongst the first people who will come and listen. Okay? Bye-bye now. Love you.